This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Tretch in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray. This is Dope Living TV Live. Let me start off by saying the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates, man. Welcome to the show. Hey, I want to thank everybody for inboxing me over the weekend because I was ill. I was really sick. And Mo was on here with me, man. I had on a mask. I had hoodies on. I was just a mess. What's up, Jenny?
Man, I was the same way. I'm just now kind of feeling a little bit better. I couldn't even get out the bed. Like I spent the whole weekend in the bed. I couldn't do anything.
It's crazy, man. But shout
I
out to
almost went and took a COVID test. I'm like, but it didn't seem like it was COVID. I had COVID twice. It didn't feel like COVID.
And I'm still, you know how you get into this and you get on the tail end. I think I'm on the tail end right now. I don't have the everything, but I'm still feeling a little bad. But appreciate you, Mo. It was rough, bro. Thank you, bro.
Oh man.
Thank you.
Praying. We were like, what's going on with Greg? Because you lose a little bit more spicier than that.
Dude, I ain't had nothing left. Okay. And but we had a great guest on. And
what's going on, sis?
Had a good time with him.
Hey, Momo. I'm glad you're safe, Mo.
She says she's glad you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mercy.
Me as well.
And stuff blowing up and blowing away around us. But I always tell people Nashville is in a deep hole. It's like a bowl. So you'll see a storm coming and it just seems like the pressure dropping to go away. It dissipates.
Bless God, because all over the place.
Yeah,
it's bad out there. We've had a lot of people.
Nebraska really caught it.
Yeah.
I'm praying for families out there. Yeah,
Oklahoma,
they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Oklahoma,
gone.
Iowa. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Only was in one tornado here, and it was like when we first moved. Well, like 10 years after we moved here, and it tore up the backyard. Things all around us. Trees was laying down all around us. You hear me? I had 2 shingles missing off my roof. Everybody, dude across the street, they picked up his whole roof and slammed it down. The people behind me, a big gigantic tree fell on their house. People across the street, you see what a tornado just stripped everything off. And you know what? My backyard was just messed up. That was it. 2 or 3 shingles. I say,
Mo, you could have got a new house.
Huh?
Got a new house, Mo.
It's more to it than that. They were just talking this past week about a young lady where she grabbed her dog and was getting ready to get into the basement. And as soon as she got toward the steps, the roof blew off and it took her dog. But a few hours later, as everyone's trying to pick up the pieces and look to see what they can find, all of a sudden they hear, "Arf, arf." Here comes the dog running up the road. I'm like, well, bless God.
Was she here, Marcy?
Huh? Was she?
What'd you say? She heard.
Arf, arf. That's a baby dog. Arf, arf. Like,
no. Yeah, it was a trip. I mean, I think about, because they had set out the warning. We heard the warning go off. And when we heard the warning go off, we had just grabbed Jeremiah out of his room and we started going downstairs.
Yeah.
And everybody was headed downstairs. I built this room that's inside the downstairs bathroom. I reinforced it with cement because there's no basement here.
Like a bunker.
Right. So, I mean, it's survivable. It's in the interior. There's one of the bathrooms that's in the interior of the house, right off the living room. And what I did was stack that cement board, that Hardy backer, and then put drywall on top of it, and it's survivable. So
yeah, with the climate changes, people need to start making sure. Okay, I'm going to say it like this: Red Cross ready. Making sure you know what to do in the case of bad thunderstorms, tornadoes. If you don't have a basement, you can go into a room that's completely on the inside without any outside walls to the outside. But have a plan on what to do, where to go, especially do it with your children, your grandchildren, because again, throughout our country and with this climate change, storms are getting worse than they've ever been. And we're seeing a lot of natural disasters going on, and people are losing their lives.
So let's just stay prepared and be safe. Okay. We ain't gonna get into the Marcy dissertations right now. Okay. Let Marcy talk forever and ever. Even though it's good stuff, Marcy, but we got to get into
it's what I do.
The meat and potatoes. All right. So I was thinking, and Gina, she does it. Marcy does it. I think we've all at some point had to care for our mothers, our fathers. As we get older, they get older as well. It's not like they start getting, aging, and things happen. And I wanted to talk about caring for your loved ones at an old age. What are the positives? What are the negatives? I mean, if there is a negative to be said about changing your entire life to support and to make sure that this person has a good life. I mean, how do y'all feel about that? Just an open question right now.
For me, it's something I've been doing since I was younger. I had a sister that was epileptic, scarlet fever, and large heart, things of that nature. So even as a child, I was used to being there, having to care, to relieve my mom, my grandparents, and I am one in my family. Whereas when something happens like that, I'm the one that's called, whether it's to help through an illness or I'm holding someone's hand when they're taking their last breath. So it's, for me, it's just a part of life.
Gina?
Well, I'm just going to say it's difficult. It's difficult, when you have a loved one, whether it's a parent, whether it's a spouse, it's difficult. And when I had to take on the role, I didn't have no clue of what it entailed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what agencies were out there to help. And so I started doing research, and I found different. The first time I had to deal with caring for someone that had dementia was my mother-in-law. And I didn't even know that there were agencies out here to help, that there were support groups. I didn't really know much about Alzheimer's, period. So I started doing the research and looking for things, and then I started finding help. But, during that time, we were saddled with, caring for her and not having that knowledge and not having more family support. It's different when you have more family support, when others in the family are involved, than when it's all on your shoulders. And it's just very difficult. And I just say, if you have to deal with it, reach out to people, reach out to family, friends, and other family members so that you can get the help. Sometimes you just need to take a few days away just so you can regroup. And you don't always get that.
Yeah. You made a good point. We
got to let Mo get us first.
I personally haven't had to deal with it, but my sister had, with my mother, and some of the things she was telling me, it was like unbelievable. That's not my mama. You know what I mean? That's not my mama. My mama, she ain't saying that. She's not doing that, Then you go over there and you sit down for like 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes, and it's like, man, it takes it out of you. It does. Because, you remember the life that she was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You remember her soul and her essence. The rest of that stuff that's going on right now, I mean, you just almost get in denial,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcy.
That was my experience, That's much experience I had.
At Gina's point, she researched. When you're going through something like that, and it's a different illness, whatever the illness is, research it well, seek out support groups, look for your village, ask your village for help, tell them, be specific in what type of help you need. A lot of times they see you going through, but they don't know what to do. And there are times whereas because you don't know what type of help you really need, you're like, oh no, I got it. You think you're Superman, Superwoman.
Yeah.
But you really need help. When it comes to Alzheimer's, dementia, things of that nature, you definitely have to remember, like you said, their essence, and you have to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
They might be like, say, 86 years old in the natural, but they're stuck back at age 25. So once you are with them and you're seeing, okay, you start listening to what they're talking about, you'll figure out, hopefully, what age group they're stuck in. And sometimes, like you said, Maurice, regarding, you were like, no, that wasn't my mom. I have a loved one that doesn't really curse, but loves the F-U-C-K word right now. And I'm like, no, they're not in this house. And hearing stories, that happens a lot. They'll curse.
Yeah.
They might be promiscuous. And these are not their normal personalities. So you have to remember, and when they strike out at you verbally, you have to remember, this is your loved one. They're no longer who they were. And this is the illness.
Right.
Whether it's dementia, whether it's another mental illness, whether it's cancer, whether it's, whatever it is, a lot of times they're angry. They don't know why they're angry, and they don't know why they're angry. So they're striking out at those closest to them, but it's not really you who they're upset with.
Well,
okay. Hey, Marie says, let me read this real quick. Then Marie says that I've also noticed that having the care of relatives or matriarchs causes a lot of unfortunate family drama. One relative getting frustrated and taking more of the load, etc. Now, Michelle Kane says, yes, I agree with author Gina Gadsden. It's difficult because my mom and I had to handle taking care of my father. He had cancer. We did have a few people to help us, but mainly it was just my mom and I. And it is most people feel that it's a difficult situation. And it's probably the hardest thing they ever had to do in their lives. But there's things that happen throughout that process. And I've learned that myself because my mom is 87 years old and she's currently going through dementia. You learn a lot of stuff. There's a lot of different nuances that come up, and then you learn a lot about yourself.
Come
you know
on.
what I'm saying? Your sense of purpose. And you get to a point where it's like you gain a little wisdom, and sometimes you know, as you're talking, like when I talked to my mom, I found out how I never knew how funny she was. All right. And so it's a eye-opening experience.
You must have patience. A lot. Patience.
Mo, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think about what was brought on, what brought it on, and she fell and she ended up in the hospital, and as time went on, that dementia and that stuff, kicked in. And it just, like I said, my mother was super active, even, being 72, and she just would not. And the thing that sticks in my mind the most is I remember way before she fell, I tried to move her to Tennessee because this is where everybody was at. And oh God, she would not move. She would not move. And, the very thing that I put out of my mouth and I think about now, I said, Mama, something happened to you. It's 8 hours before I even can be here quick enough.
To you. And
that's exactly what happened. So I'm not speaking nothing like that in existence no more. Ever again.
Not at all. Go ahead, Gina.
Yeah.
It's a couple of things. One, it worsens the situation when you take them out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
That's something that I learned if they are comfortable where they are, they know where things are, even though they don't have their short-term memory, they lose that long-term memory, but they're comfortable where they are. And when you take them out of their comfort zone, it just you're gonna have a lot on your hands at that point.
You gonna catch a little cane, huh?
Yes. But
I
one
think
thing
that's
I want to say is that one thing I always remind myself is one day this may be me.
Mhm.
See,
As I took care of my mother-in-law. And even as my mom doesn't have dementia, she's she still drives, she still does everything. You wouldn't even
Your
think
mom's superwoman, so you can't
my
yes,
even.
she
mother
is.
just drove to
She
Ohio and
is.
back. But and
She getting a whooping.
she's not your average 80-year-old, but there are times when she forgets things and I have to remind her, or she'll
Mhm.
ask me questions that she's asked me over and over again. And I have to remind myself that one day this might be me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
How do I want my children or whoever, Robert or whoever's going to take care of me, how would I
Mhm.
want them to react to myself if it's me? And sometimes that's what you have to stop and think. I'm going to tell you, karma is a mug. If you don't do them right, you're going to catch it.
and
Come
that's
on.
You're
important.
going
That
to
is
catch
so
it.
very important, Gina. You got to do. Look, I look at it like this, and this is just my personal opinion. When I was young, I fall down, scrape my knee. Who's there? Mom. She come there with the Akira Kona, little red magic.
Yeah.
I know
red
you
magic
would.
juice.
Burn your kneecap off.
Just burn it up, but it didn't really do nothing, okay? But it's red, and you say red is danger, and it'll help it, and it'll clean it up. Mommy say, okay, you're gonna be you put it on there, it's gonna be
Yeah,
all
she
right.
kissed the boo boo too. She kissed it
You
too.
know,
Made it feel better.
when you start being congested, mom take the whole jar, she take a whole
Big
hand of Vicks vapor rub and just rub it all up in your chest and all up in your neck and stuff like that. She did that, okay? Why? Because she cared about you.
right.
See?
She wanted you to get well, even though those weren't cures. She wanted you to feel better. She wanted to make sure that you felt great about, number one, somebody cared about you. Number two, because that person cared about me, I'm gonna be all right. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be all right. So as your people get older, and I'll use my mom as an example. And I was talking to my brother earlier today. My brother, shout out to Ken Gray, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna talk about this, but I don't know how I'm gonna talk about it. Okay.
Mm.
But the comfort level for me is that there's other people on the panel that are going through the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that the flip side of that coin was, my niece and my sister that were giving care to, and or they had to go through the training and all that stuff. That actually led into a career in healthcare.
See?
Ah.
Both of them. One's an
Mhm.
administrator and one's a caretaker. So they actually
So let
got
me.
into that.
I'm sorry, but go ahead. Finish it. You saw.
They actually got into it right after my mom passed. So, yeah, that actually led them into careers that I don't
So let
think
me
they
ask
would
you
even
guys.
thought about.
Let me ask you guys. How has your life changed since you started being a caregiver?
I can't come and go. Like if I wanted to travel, I would have to find someone that might be able to come stay with my mom. And I don't trust many people with her. And technically it's me and her. My grandkids are teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much me and her. I do have some cousins around, but not that I don't trust them. They have lives to lead, they have families,
Right.
things of that nature. And I would prefer someone to come to be here at our home. Like Gina said, in her comfort zone. Now my mom still get out and do things. She does not drive, she does not cook. She'll get out to go shop, go shopping, and then go shopping, and then go shopping some more. But still, I would not trust her being here by herself.
Right.
There are different types of dementia where you have hallucinations. Bless God, she's not a wanderer, where you have to worry about just walking out the door. And where I live, we live with wildlife and all this, and country, like But one good thing, there's respite case um, uh, care. There are agencies out here that can help you, even if you're in the home with the person. They'll come out. They can help you. They'll do an evaluation to see what type of help you need. There's also, whereas they can go, there's adult daycare. When I had my grandmother, there was a point where I wasn't leaving the house. I was having groceries delivered. I was having everything delivered because I couldn't leave the house. She was 101 and then 102 at the time. So that was a little bit different. So I started looking for adult daycare, and I found a Christian adult daycare. Whereas if I wanted just to go out for 2 or 3 hours, they were charged like $10 an hour, something really, cheap or whatever, where you could take your loved one there and have them there. They fed them, they watched TV, they played games, they did, were there for them. And that's something people can look for, something of that nature, the adult daycare, like a child daycare. But what I will tell you, visit that place, visit several of them, visit them all different types of hours, just to see if you can, how are you smelling urine where they're not changing? Depends if, your loved one's wearing a depends. Are they really taking care of the person? What type of food are they serving? How are they really treating the residents there? Huh?
To vet them thoroughly.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Gina.
Well, my case is different in all three because I went through taking care of loved ones in three different phases. One was my mother-in-law with dementia. The second was my late husband with cancer. And then my mom. With my mother-in-law, we did have her in a nursing home for about maybe 5 months. We didn't like the care she was given. It was super expensive. I believe my husband was paying maybe $5,000 a month
Yeah.
for her to be there.
I
And
just
that
looked at
didn't
one
even
6,000.
include, that was just for the housing. That didn't include getting her hair done or any necessities. That was just for her to be there. We weren't very comfortable with it because she had dementia. It was like a jail. They had to have the door locked down at all times. So we weren't comfortable with her being there. And thank God my mother was kind of in that field with home health care, and so she agreed to take my mother-in-law in, and she stayed with my mother for 5 years until she passed away. So
Wow.
we were blessed to have someone that was loving and caring, that took her in. My mom would take her. Shoot, she went to Hawaii before I did. She took her to Hawaii, and she would take her different places. So get her out and everything. Everybody's not blessed to have that, and sometimes that's the only choice that they do have. So I agree. I don't know any that are that great. It wasn't a great place to me, and that's why we wanted to get her out of there. And then I went through the, taking care of my late husband because he had stage 4 cancer. We found out he had stage 4 cancer in December of 2012. I'm sorry, January. Actually, it was January of 2013, and he passed away in April of 2013. And so, as he started deteriorating, I'm telling you, I can't even really talk about this. And this was 2013 he passed away, and it's still hard for me to talk about because you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what you would do in those situations, and
Yeah.
you think you do. And I always said if I had to do it again, there were decisions that I made that I wouldn't have made. And they were so hurtful because I feel like if I hadn't made some decisions, like I really, you hear these doctors and they tell you these things, and because you want hope, you believe what they're saying,
Yeah.
and they don't always have your best interest at heart.
Not at all.
They're
It's
practicing.
more for the money. It's more for, and they brought this thing to me that radiation was going to help him. He did 5. On the 5th day of his radiation, he was worse than he had ever been. And he went downhill from that. And I really pushed the radiation because I thought that it was going to be a saving grace.
And I want to talk about that a little bit later.
I thought it was going to be a saving grace, and they made it seem like, and this was full body radiation, because at this point he had
Yeah, they didn't
cancer.
have it. Yeah.
He had it all through his body, even in his brain.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they did the full body radiation, and it just took him down. I would if I knew what I knew now, I would have said no to the radiation. I believe he would have been here longer had I not agreed to the radiation. And I know a lot of people say, you can't hold that, or you can't blame yourself for it. I do, because I was making the decisions. I had to make those decisions.
Yeah.
And I had to be the one to make the decisions and to this. And at one point I didn't want to. Like, he had 2 sisters, but they didn't have a good relationship. They were like 10 and 12 years older than him. And I was calling them up saying, what do I do? And they were just like, you have to decide. No one was there to help me. Like, they were like, you're the wife, you got to decide. And I'm like, I don't want to decide. I don't know what to do. I had nobody.
Right.
And that goes back to trying to do research. Research, second opinions. We went through that with my dad with lung cancer. And trying to, I understand, okay, I'm thinking this is for the best. And like you said, some doctors are not. They're there for the money. They're, just going through the motions. Well, I see this every day. Well, okay, well, here's a new procedure. I want to try this anyway. And sometimes use us,
as guinea pigs.
Pretty much. No, it was not your fault. You were doing the best that you could at the time with the information that you had. So no, it definitely wasn't your fault. And you know now. And then sometimes it works for some people, and then others it doesn't. You just don't know. It's definitely not your fault.
Well, bro, when you talk about how it changed your life, my life was upside down.
Well, see,
My life was I couldn't even go to work. It was upside down. Like, I don't even know how I made it through. And if you ask me what happened during that period in my life, I can't even tell you, other than caring for him.
I want to get into that a little bit too. And we may have to take this into a second day, because this is very important to talk about. Okay. Danny Marie says, my prayer is that I'm in a position where I can take care of my mom, and I have to put her in a home. Anyone nervous? She's asking the question about the treatment your parents might get in facilities. And Gina, you touched on that.
Yeah. I hate.
I'm sorry. You never know. Okay. Which is why my brothers and I have 5 other brothers. My mom is content staying in the house that we were brought up in. So that's where we want her to be. She's more comfortable. We want to make sure that she's in comfortable surroundings, because as Gina said, we don't know what these people are there to earn a living. That's all they do.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. So, not all. But
not all. I mean, we're just saying in general, they don't earn a paycheck.
There's something called structured family care. A lot of people are not aware of it. You can check into that in your area. Whereas if you're the one that's taking care of your loved one, there's a possibility that you can get paid for that. So if you're thinking, hey, I need to get out and work, I need to do this, and I have to have the money coming in, and now sometime I have a loved one here with me, so that's maybe it might be an extra mouth to feed, depending on if there's monies coming in from there. But the structured family care is something that where you can get paid. And I think, Mo, that might be what your family might have been doing. And they'll train you. And for things even like just running errands, bathing, cooking, taking care of their pet, cleaning the home, things of that nature. So you can check into structured family care, because we did have my maternal grandmother in a nursing home. It was a 24-hour where families could visit.
Well, let me interrupt you, Marcella.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And what you're saying, all good and true.
Sorry, go ahead.
We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to talk, get some of these comments in and everything. Okay, go ahead, Mo.
No, I was just saying that's exactly right, and that's exactly took that. Yeah, as far as my siblings, my sister and her daughter, my niece, basically taking the bull by the horns and running with it. And again, the basic training was free. The stuff that they went to school for was extra, and it was paid for. You know, after them being a caretaker for my mother.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you know, like I said, they're doing pretty good here on that healthcare stuff. So I mean, that's absolutely true. That's a gateway to, you know, if that's something that you can continuously do, you know, like Gina's example with you know, her mother-in-law. I mean, you know,
Her mom and mother-in-law.
yeah. So I mean, that right there, I think, I mean, there's not enough people in that, you know, that have that kind of special, you know, special
The heart for
skill
it.
level, you know, because you got to have a heart for that stuff. You just can't just do it for the money, because you know, you end up in trouble.
That's the thing, Mo. You know, this is your mom, this is your dad, this is your loved one. Okay,
Right.
do you really? And I think Marcy expressed this a little bit. Do you really trust people to
But you know
really
what,
give them
bro?
the absolute greatest care?
This is one thing that is so sad in the United States. In other countries,
They
Come
take
on.
care. Come on.
they don't have nursing homes. They feel that their parents raise them and sacrifice for them, and when their parents get older and sick, they care for their parents.
It's an honor.
It's an
Yeah.
honor to care for their parents.
I
We
believe
don't
Amish do that
have
as well.
that mentality here.
Asian.
Asian,
Asian,
Amish.
Dominicans, it's so many countries. They don't even have nursing homes. They care for their elderly parents until they pass away, and they have the
Yeah.
patience and the love for them.
Mm-hmm.
We got so many people here that want to throw their parents in a nursing home so
In the
that they can
nursing home.
continue living their lives.
Yep.
They can continue, you know, that they don't feel like they should be responsible for their parents.
Why am
And
I
I think
gonna
it's
why am I gonna give up my life for that? They're crazy.
sometimes they're still competent though enough to make that decision, but you still there's people, as you said, Gina, they're still competent to make the decision. I want to stay home, okay, but you're saying, well, no, I'm not going to do it, okay, so that's the only choice, okay, but that's not the only choice, okay, that's not the only choice. Kenneth
Are they
Clark
really
said,
competent enough to make that decision though?
but you gotta side on you know, you gotta side on that, because even if they're not competent, this is my opinion, you still got, if they're saying it, then that's going to make them comfortable. I saw, look, let me read Kenneth Clark's first. Great conversation here. I'm an advocate for senior health care living for nursing homes. I invited him to come on the show tomorrow, okay, so we can continue the conversation, okay. We'll see what he says. Rachel says, this is awesome information, and Rachel she gives us the CEO of our life. She has a little bit of information for us today. Danny Marie says, well, we are also not in a position financially to do it. Folks got to work. Thanks for the resource, Marcy. Yeah, folks got to work in this and that, but at the end of the day, for me, I feel, and see,
Our
it's not
parents
just
had to work.
they had to do everything, and they still had to take care of us. I have a circle of, I have brothers that we each do our part. We each do our part, which is great. I know a family where they stuck their mom in a nursing home. That's where their mom died at. Okay, she didn't get any visitors. We used to go visit her. You know, we grew up with her. We went to visit her, but
that's what happens.
While she was in the nursing home, one of her daughters took all the money. You know, I'm not naming names.
I was gonna bring that point up too, bro.
Yeah.
Took all of the money and never went to see her. Just went up there enough to get the information to be able to extract that from her. Okay, so my thing is, does that, when you get to that point, does that change you? You know what I'm saying? Does it change you? Now you got to a point, especially if you're not financially stable. Does that change you? Now you're plotting as opposed to helping. You're plotting against this person because they can't do anything. There's nothing they can do.
I have an individual I know right now that, and this has been a 6-month battle, that one of the sisters ciphered money out of the mother's account, and now the other siblings are taking her to court to place that money back. And sometimes that's the bottom line.
It
is.
You know,
it's not your responsibility of your parents when you're grown to take care of your bills and all of that. You know, because they feel like, well, she don't need this money, you know, or he or she don't need this, mom or dad don't need this money. I can use it. That's not right. Especially when there's other siblings involved.
Mhm.
You know, by law, it's actually belongs to all siblings. It's supposed to be split
Yeah,
with
there's
all the siblings. But one thing I wanted to touch on that Marcy brought up, which is all the care that's out here. We reached out to a lot of those facilities for my mother-in-law.
mhm.
She wouldn't take it. We had the Meals on Wheels. We had the visiting home health care. She wouldn't open the door for them to come in and help
Ooh,
her with the laundry or the cooking. She wouldn't take the food from the meals. We couldn't get her to take the
okay.
help that was out. So even though it's out there, sometimes it's even difficult
Yeah,
for those elderly individuals to even take the help that's out there. Excuse
yeah.
me. So that becomes a difficult process as well.
And that's when we have to be an advocate for our loved ones. And as they get older, whether it's dementia or just you getting older, you're not trusting people to come into your home or to bring things. Because I know I have a friend whose mom is in her late 80s and she's trying to get help for her mom. And exactly what you're saying, Gina. And she's like, I'm not signing any papers for you to get paid to help either, even though she's doing everything for her mom and trying to work a couple of jobs. And, so that does become difficult. And for those who might have to put your loved one in a nursing home, I would just suggest that go visit, 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 visit.
But they
One
have to
grandmother
I'm gonna tell you, they have to relinquish all of their possessions for either you're going to pay cash out of pocket for it, but if you're looking
have to
for
pay down.
assistance from the state, they got to get rid of all of their property. They can't have money in the bank. They pretty
Okay,
much, you can't have much of anything.
okay. Now, when we had my grandmother in, it was okay to have 1,200 in the bank. And what they told us was before the first, if there's anything over 1,200, just go ahead and pull it out so that if it's checked, there's 1,200 in the bank. Now, yes, we had to pay down. She did have a home, but if my grandfather had still been alive, or if she had an adult child who had been living there for at least 5 years there, like maybe taking care of her or something, then they said that the house you did not have to get rid of the house. But then that goes back to us in the African American community. We need to learn about generational wealth, financial wealth, trust funds.
Like Danny was just talking about,
We need to do these
power of
trust
attorney,
funds, put these in
POA.
there, power of attorney, but we need to do these trust funds, have everything in a trust fund. And this is from what I'm reading, a lot of this. I believe they can't touch that property, that house. Now, if you have a lot of property, that's a little bit different. But like Gina said, it was 5,000. I just checked a home, and this is just in case because you never know what happens down the line. Even though I don't really believe in nursing homes and things, and it's 6,000 a month.
Yeah.
And it's extremely, extremely
And
expensive.
that's just for the housing. It doesn't include
Yeah.
getting their hair done. There's
Mhm.
necessities like toothpaste, deodorant, body wash. It
Yeah, you
doesn't
still
include
have
any of
to.
that.
Yeah, you still have to. The family still have to pay for that. But again, this was back years. Like I retired in 2011. This was before I retired with my maternal grandmother, and like I said, they said we were able to keep 1,200 in her bank account at the beginning of the month, and they just said again, just
Yeah. Well, I
so
want to touch a little bit on kind of how I stated that there's three different types that I've had to deal with. My mom is a little bit different. She doesn't have dementia. She's very still independent, yet
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that my sister and I do to help her to stay independent. We have taken on the responsibility of paying her monthly bills, the two of
Mm-hmm.
us. We've
Mm-hmm.
taken on a lot of her expenses ourselves
Yeah.
so that she could be a little bit more comfortable in retirement. My mom still works,
Mm.
but she has a mortgage. She has her monthly bills. She has a car note. She has insurance. So we've taken on a lot of her monthly bills to kind of give her a little bit more freedom because we don't
Mhm.
want to see my mom at the age of 80 still working and working and working.
Right.
I'm glad that she works. She does home health care. Believe it or not, my mom will be 80 in July, and she's caring for senior citizens. That's
Wow.
her job.
Wow.
So she takes them. She's what you talked about, Marcy, taking them to the store, doing their laundry, and so on and so forth. But she
But she wants
enjoys
to
it.
work, right? She's working
enjoys it.
because she wants to.
Right.
So
She
yeah, and that's a
enjoys it.
difference. Yeah.
And I think that's what's keeping her so
You're young.
lively.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, there's still of course there had to be a change in my life, because now I have to make sure her bills are paid, and I have to make sure they're paid on time. And your adult parents are hard to help, because they feel like, I'm the parent, you're the child, so shut up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to,
Ooh, I get that all
go
the
back
time.
and forth with my mom about, do it this way, do it that way. Let's do it like this, so that,
I've been doing
I
it for
remember
40 years this way.
I remember when my sister and I took her to do a refinance for her house, because she was paying her taxes out of pocket and her insurance out of pocket. And she was having a hard time with it. I took money out my 401k. My sister was every year we had to come up with this money for her taxes on her house. And so I was like, let's do a refinance so they could put everything in there. And
Escrow.
it was
Or a HELOC.
a better situation for my mom, but to this day she don't see it.
Yeah.
She still say, y'all made me go and change my mortgage over, and I lost that. But honestly, she gained.
Right.
Really did gain, but she don't see it. And so those are some of the difficulties you have to deal with, because they're still mom and dad, and they still feel like they tell you what to do. You don't tell them what to do.
But it's actually flipped. It's like the circle of life, and that's something that I am going through. And she does have dementia, but I'm going through almost daily. I'm the parent, you're the child. I'm in my 60s.
He's still a child.
And I'm like, no, and I'm the one taking care of you, and and it's like,
but you know
she
what,
doesn't see that.
Danny is so right about having those conversations. I had to make my sister and my mom have that conversation. They didn't want to have it, and I was like, Mom, you have to tell us, what do you want to do with your house if something happens to you? What do you want us to do with certain things that she has, that she possessed? And I had to make her have that my sister didn't want to have the conversation.
And it's
but
just
this
the two
is
of you?
part of reality. It's
just
the two of us.
Yeah.
This is a part of reality. One day, all of us are going to die. We have to talk about it. I'm going to get my kids together, and we're going to have that conversation, because I have assets, and I want to talk to them so that in the end, everybody knows what's going to happen.
And always put it in writing.
Going. Of course.
Make sure it's in writing. Yeah.
Of course. But even before I do that, I want to have the conversation so that everybody is in agreement. And it's okay to have that conversation while you're living, and not try to figure it out. Everybody else figure it out when you're 6 feet under.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, because when that happens, when you do pass, they're grieving. So sometimes people aren't thinking straight. They're not trying to hear anything. But when it's here in black and white, okay, boom, boom, boom. We don't have to do any thinking. We don't have to try to figure this out. It's already here. So then you have that time to grieve and to process what just happened.
So let me read this.
I would like to hear what Greg has to say. I know your life has changed quite a bit.
Well, I'll say a little bit, but let me read what Kenneth Clark says. Kenneth, by the way, he's agreed to come on the show tomorrow and talk with us. Okay. He says we have to handle obstacles to those that don't want the help by using a spiritual approach. Prayer is financial literacy, spiritual fiber, mental fiber, physical fiber are key to improving the lives of seniors, those that are in nursing homes. We want to, we're talking about being a caregiver. How's your life changed? And I want to ask you guys the question at the end of the day. And I had this question here. When you started this journey of being a caregiver, that's for anybody that's out there. The question would be, what I wish I'd known when I started life as a caregiver. What are the things that you wish you had known before you started doing this? Okay. We want Rachel's moment though. Okay. Go ahead, Marcy. Go ahead, Marcy.
We're just going to take a quick break we're going to take a quick break here for CEO of Life, Rachel Gary. Maybe.
You sure?
Maybe not. I thought we were.
Yeah, we are.
Don't have time to manage your time? Okay, that means you don't have time for success. Time management is about you taking an opportunity to understand what is going on within your day, putting in some things that are going to keep you successful throughout your day. Putting things into 3 buckets. Whether those things are propelling you forward, leaving you stagnant, or on your plate but don't know why. So if you don't have time to manage your time, success will continually evade you. And I want success for a CEO. So let's work on time management by understanding what's going on within our day. What is disrupting our flow? What is keeping us stagnant? And be up, out, and moving to the greatness we all know lies within who? You.
And also don't forget to join us in the live session every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah, don't forget.
I'm gonna have to get lessons from her on those lives because she don't let nothing around her distract her.
Yeah, nothing at all. And Rachel wants to know, what do you guys think about the tips that she gives? All right, email us, email any one of us. Let her know. Email Rachel Gary. She's on Facebook. Let her know what you think about it. All right, tell her Greg sent you. All right, most definitely. We have, like I said, tomorrow, Kenneth Clark will be on. He's going to talk to us about the effect of people that are in the homes now. You've decided to put your parent, your loved one in the home. Now what? But I want to ask you guys, okay, so what do you wish you had known before you started caregiving?
I think I brought it up already. I wish I had known of the resources that were out here. I was clueless. I didn't know that there was support systems like they are out here. And it would have helped a whole lot. The adult daycare, getting time away from the stress of this everyday caring for someone. Not that, you hate doing it, but everybody needs some time away. We couldn't even go on vacation because we had my mother-in-law. And so just knowing that there are resources, if I had known that in the beginning, it would have made things so much easier.
Okay. Marcy, keep it short.
Pretty much the same thing that Gina is saying when I had my grandmother. And like I said, I was pretty much stuck in the house. And when I say stuck, it wasn't a bad thing because I love my grandmother and I wanted to care for her. I fought to get her. But just knowing the resources that are there, that's pretty much it. And with my maternal grandmother, like I said, it was a 24-hour where you could visit. So I was there at crazy hours. It didn't matter. I would just ding dong, delavalad, doing research different homes to see what is a better fit. Make sure that the family is allowed to come there. Make sure that you do have a voice if your loved one is in a home. And make sure it's the proper home. You have the assistant care, you have the memory care, you have the regular nursing home. How Gina said it felt like it was a prison. Make sure it's not like that. The one I went into this couple of weeks ago for the memory care part, you pretty much couldn't tell the difference from the regular nursing home part. And look at the residents there. Are they happy? Are they smiling? Are they interacting with each other?
Mo.
Man, learning a lot about this, although I've been through it once. That's something I don't want to go through ever again in my life. But if I have to go through it, I have to come back here and dip into some of this knowledge, because I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters. We don't communicate enough in our culture of what to do in these instances like this. We don't. I mean, the siblings don't know what to do, and you touch it every once in a while, but you don't really do the due diligence and find out what you want to actually happen. Legally, like Danny mentioned the POAs. That's a very important thing because
Power of
you don't want
attorneys for those that don't know.
power of attorney. That's right. That's right. You got to have a power of attorney. You got to have that stuff in play and ready to go in the event that something happens, because that determines which way you're going to go, what you're going to do. Things we didn't have in there. My mother was super independent. She worked in the mills, and sometimes I think that was part of her demise. But she was mega independent, and I'm gonna be all right as always. I mentioned, you never think about you, but you have to sit down and have those conversations with your loved ones and your siblings, so you know what the heck's going on, and when it happens, everybody knows what they're responsible for and what to do. Please have those conversations, folks.
You know what? And Jenny, you asked me about this, and I'm gonna share just a portion of it. One thing that I wasn't prepared for was to watch the demise. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, but I got used to it. And as I said, I got 5 brothers. There's 6 boys in the family, so everyone does their part. Mo mentioned power of attorney. We've done that already. Paying the bills, that's taken care of. All right. My father, when he died, he left her very well financially. So she's not going to ever have a problem with the money. But all of her sons have done pretty good. So she doesn't have to worry about it anyway. We're not fighting who's doing more, who's doing this. It's not even about that. Okay, it's about making sure that mom is happy. All right, just to see when the phone rings and she sees one of our names come up, she's extremely happy. All right. Now, one thing that really got to me was at first, and I think Gina, maybe Marcy, you guys might have told me, the repetitive questions. I wasn't ready for that. You asked me about something, and 5 minutes later you asked me the same thing.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later you asked me the same thing. All right. But as it happened, and I got the advice, and thank you, sisters. I began to understand what's happening. It's a process. She's desperately trying to make sure she stays present. You know what I'm saying? She could tell you everything that happened back in the past. She could tell you.
Yep.
All right. But right now, right here today, it's a struggle. But with my mom, I'm not saying she's better than anybody else. My mom, she's a champion because she's not angry. She understands when I answer her. I'm being truthful. Some things I let her. I just go ahead and let her go ahead and with it. Okay.
You have to.
The block that we were born on, and I'm gonna keep it short. The block that we were born on, she's the only surviving original parent. The only one that's there. So she'll ask, "Who's this? How are they doing? Are they still alive?" It used to be, "How are they doing?" Blah blah blah. Now she's asking because she's retained it now, but she still asks, "Are they still alive or are they dead?" She puts that in there now. So then I tell her to try to curtail it so she won't have to feel bad about it. Mom, you're the only living parent still left on the block. All right, and she's satisfied. She says, "Well, God must have favor. God must live because I'm still here."
Amen.
Right? And she's not one of those wanderers. And I was just trying to take in everything that you guys said. She's not one of those wanderers. Okay, she'll go outside when one of us are there.
Yeah.
She's handling this very, very, very well. Now, she's lost the time of day, basically. She don't know what time it is, and that's only because I got to change the battery in her clock. Okay. Other than that,
change the
You
battery.
better get that battery in there.
Okay.
because all day long it's 5 o'clock. Okay. So,
That's so wrong. Please do that because that can mess them up. That can mess them up when it comes to time and days of the week and things like that. So please get that battery.
I mentioned it when I'm gonna do it, but
get you one of these, Greg.
It's probably gonna be somebody. I'm probably. Hey, I might
said it.
I might
Date,
get a
time,
cuckoo clock.
temperature, everything.
I might get a cuckoo clock so that bird can come out and say cuckoo.
Lord
You want
Jesus.
to get her a gay cuckoo clock. It's cuckoo girl. Anyway, one thing that did bother me, I came in today, and she's got satellite and all of that stuff. She's good on the channels, okay. But I'm telling you, it took me a month. Gene, I told you this. It took me a month to get rid of all of the recordings that she had, okay? Because
Lord,
she couldn't navigate that thing.
DVR
Control.
Kept pressing remote.
Bam, she just recording everything. Bam. Mary's what's her name? Martha Stewart. Bam. The Price is Right. Bam. The Flintstones. I mean, everything is just recorded. It took me a month to get rid of every single recording, okay? But I didn't make her feel bad about it. She was good about it. She was really good about it. And she just said, you know what? Just take the remote. I just
Bro, you lucky because my mother every 2 or 3 days I had to call Amazon to get rid of movies that my mother purchased. Free movies on top of that. And they kept telling me to put a child safety on there, parental thing.
A PIN
but
number.
then it was difficult for her to get to certain things. So I didn't do it. I just was like, well, I'm just going to keep calling every time that she sees something that's supposed to be a free trial. She would go for it, and then she would forget to cancel it. And so I'm looking on my bill like, what the heck is this?
Oh Lord.
Danny Marie says get her Alexa so she can talk to it occasionally. And she also says, speaking of recordings, save your parents' voice recordings. I saved mine. Thank God I have those since my dad passed.
I have one of my son. Hi, this is Joshua. That was on his phone, and I have it where you can go to Build-A-Bear, and you can get one. Like, say if you wanted to put it in a bear or something. So I still have that. It was in a drawer, and I kind of forgot it was in there, and I was going through it, and all of a sudden I accidentally pushed it and didn't know, and I was like, "Whoa!" Kind of threw me.
I got my memory right here, father, right here. It's going to be there until I die. Okay, Marcy, we got to get out of here. Let's hear your last comment.
Okay, families, unite, respect each other, respect your loved ones. Please stop the fighting, stop the greediness, work together. Talk to your families and your loved ones before the time comes, and if it does come eventually, but know what to do in that case. And again, stop the fighting, unite, and work together.
Mo.
Man, like I said earlier, the communication is don't be scared to take this action and get those things in line in the event that things turn worse. If you have a passing, you got to have those things in order and ready to go.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Have patience. Your parents, they sacrificed for you as a child. Yeah. It's difficult. Anybody out there that have children, it's difficult raising children. So it's our turn. When it's our turn, we need to do the same for our parents. Make sure that their last days are good and they have what they need.
Children, we are supposed to, and I call us children, we're supposed to honor our mother and father at all times. All right. They gave us breath. They gave us life. They taught us how to be the people that we are right now. All right. So if you're a good person, why wouldn't you want to take care of that person who made you the good person? So I say celebrate them every day. Again, always, with whomever you love, celebrate them. But make sure that when they need you, because they were there, as Gina just said, they were there for you when you needed them, period. And let's go up to your 20s and stuff when you needed them financially, when you needed them for a place to stay and this and that, okay? I needed somebody, but I was too proud to say, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? So I had to suffer and be strong and do this, okay? Because the other side of this, that's what my father taught me how to do. Don't depend on anyone. So you take some of these things that they gave you, but at the end of the day, consider it a blessing to be able to take care of your parents. It is a blessing. It is an honor, and it is a duty to do so because they've done that for you all of your life. So Tomorrow we're gonna have my man. He's agreed to come on, Mr. Kenneth
Clark.
That's his name. How did you know? You know him?
No, I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay.
Duh.
Anyway, and the Clark will be on tomorrow. We're gonna make this a part 2 because I think you guys are cool with doing a part 2 to this, right?
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Definitely.
I want to touch on hospice too.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different ball game.
Was the Ella says to have compassion. Great show.
Yes.
So much,
Yep.
Hey Ella.
We appreciate all you guys. Andre Davis, Terry Griffin, Mike Green, DJ Mike Green. That's my guy right there from DeVille Radio. Check him out on check him out, period. Just check DeVille Radio out. This guy is awesome. All right, Natalie Murphy, fantastic author. Mina Chandler,
Good person.
fantastic, period. Okay. Priscilla, Prissy Harris, all of you guys, okay, that are watching the show, whose name I couldn't
We appreciate them all.
Thank you for hanging out. We appreciate you guys. And tomorrow we're going to continue this conversation. Like Jenny said, we're talking about hospice, but we're talking about being a caregiver, making sure that your loved ones, your parents, your elderly parents are well taken care of. We care. This is Dope Living TV. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Peace.
Adios.
Peace.